How y'all doing? I'm the Watchman, Joshua Wiley, to those who know me. But anyway, this right here is this is an important video I'm doing. I really don't know what to call it. All I can say is I guess I will throw a little title on and we'll say your smartphones, your laptops, and your so-called smart TVs are destroying our minds mentally while we're sleeping. If you're sleeping, you might say, Josh, okay, what are you talking about? Is this another conspiracy theorist? Look, take it as you may. But I came upon this just from myself, from a couple times falling asleep in front of the TV. Now, I don't have a TV in my bedroom, but I got a HD TV, if you call it a smart screen TV or whatever, in my living room. And a couple times I'll fall asleep in front of the TV in my living room, or I'll fall asleep in front of my laptop, and I could tell a big, huge difference. It's like I'll wake up and my mind, I could tell, had not been asleep, did not get any rest, and my physical urges were more elevated. Were more elevated. It's like I'll just wake up and want to head straight to the refrigerator. Now, you have to be totally honest with yourself if you want to see these symptoms or what's really going on. And so I after about 2 or 3 times, and this was over like a month span, of me falling asleep doing work on the computers, whichever computer I was using, or in front of my TV on the couch, and I'm sitting here like, wow, and I could automatically, like, I'm a person who compares, I compare everything, and I do it automatically. Automatically, I'm sitting there on the couch, and my brain, and I know it's the Holy Spirit, something said, your sleep in the bedroom is 100 times better. Why? And the question was, why, Josh? And I sat up and I looked around, and all I could see was the TV. I fell asleep with the TV on, and then a couple of the times the TV was off. And one of the things, I live around a military base, and a couple of my partners are in the military, a couple of my close friends, and they actually work with the computers in the military. And a couple of my partners, they actually took classes, and he told me, he said, Josh, put tape over your cameras on your laptops. I was like, what are you talking about? And that's when he let me know. He said, man, I can be in my office, and all I need is your IP address, and he said, I can go in, and I can, as long as your laptop is on a Wi-Fi, or your TV is plugged into the wall, he said, I can go through your TV and look at you, or go through your laptop and look at you through your camera. And I kid you not, his wife is always tripping out, because he'll get in there and look at her while she's at the house, or your baby monitors, or if you got security cameras, he can go through those. Any of your appliances through the so-called smart meters now, they can keep track of you through your appliances. But this led to another thought. I'm sitting here like, okay, I learned that through a couple of my partners, and I won't name their names because they're still in the military, about how they can go in as long as your appliance is plugged in to the wall, as long as your TV is plugged in. If they want to, they can go in and look at you, at what you're doing in your living room, whatever you're doing, through your camera and your TV, or through your laptop, and now even through your smartphone. Well, that's what and think about the name. They say smartphone, or smart for who? Smarter for who? But anyway, and so that got me to thinking, I already know they want to emit certain radioactive brain waves. They want to talk to your mind to lead you to do certain things. I said it would be genius to do it and emit these things, have a low frequency brain, radioactive brain waves coming out even while people are sleeping, or even while the appliance is turned off. Your appliance is still emitting radiation and these certain frequency waves, because our brains has a certain amount of electricity that it runs on, and these things actually communicate with our minds and our brains while we sleep. Just for some of y'all who might think, ah, oh, that sounds too crazy. Look, to show you how it works naturally, how our brain works. Have you ever been asleep in front of your TV, fell asleep in front of the TV, and you were dreaming the commercial that was on, or a certain song video play on the TV, and it's in your dream, and then you wake up while it's playing or something, and you're like, wow, I was just singing that in my dream. Because while you're sleeping, your mind is still awake. Your mind is still awake. And so I said, let me get online. I said, let me get online and see if there's anybody else that has dealing with these issues or up on it like I am. Like I told you, this started personal for me. Like, I could tell the difference. And then so I started testing and comparing it. I sleep in the living room. Then I go sleep in my bedroom, and the difference is it's like 1,000,000 times different, especially with my brain. But what I came across online, beloved, now I know this was the Holy Spirit that said, Josh, why is there a difference? Why? Because he knew I would try to figure out the why. So I'm gonna just read a couple websites out of many, and all I did was type in sleeping in front of smartphone, TV, or laptop, or side effects of sleeping in front of your TV. CBS, this is one website, CBS for Cleveland, Ohio, put watching television, show reruns of viral videos to put yourself asleep may be depressing to many. A lot of these, and this kept coming up, that a lot of these researchers all around the world that I end up finding out are starting to see that this is causing depression, mental disorders. Why? Because it's causing a chemical imbalance in your brain, because your brain isn't being able to rest. Plus, it's emitting certain signals and certain things into our mind on purpose. But some people might say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. But all these researchers and all these institutes are starting to say the same thing. It's just a theory. Let's see. Let's finish reading. Researchers from Ohio State University medical centers say that the rise in exposure to artificial light, specifically that of computers and TV screens at night in the last 50 years, has coincided with rising rates of depression, especially acute with women. Now think about how many people are down, really don't know why, depressed, not feeling groggy, wake up really, feeling like it just used up or been ringed out, don't know why. Many of us have these big screen TVs in our bedrooms. The study found that hamsters with chronic exposure to the dim light for 8 hours each night showed signs of depression with just in a few weeks, and then it goes on. But I got several that I want to go. This right here is another WebMD. This is WebMD.com. They say, power down for better sleep. It says, I spend my day thinking of emails I need to send, and the only time I can catch up is after hours, says Taylor, 36, a government affairs executive in Washington, D.C. Whether it's email, a video game, the web, or TV, electronic devices, and their offerings keep millions of Americans like Taylor connected 24/7. But the price for leading our fully wired lives is high. These diversions can keep us from both falling asleep and sleeping well. One of the most simple but important reasons technology affects our sleep is cognitive stimulation, says Mark Rosekind, PhD, former director of the Fatigue Countermeasures Program at the NASA Mimes Research Center and president and chief scientist at the scientific consulting firm Alertness Solutions. As your brain revs up, its electrical activity increases and neurons start to race, the exact opposite of what should be happening before sleep. A second reason has to do with your body. The physical act of responding to a video game or even emails make your body tense. But I read this one because he's actually talking about, he said something that where he talks about the electrical aspects, the electrical activity, and the neurons in our brain that these things trigger even while they're asleep. Now I use my cell phone for an alarm clock, but now I have to stop. Now I have to stop because of what I'm finding out, that our cell phones, our laptops, and our TVs even emit radiation 24/7. 24/7. And then if you're like me, I kept my phone by my head on my I got my little dressers that match my bedroom set. You know, I got my phone right here by my head, but I'm wondering why sometimes I feel groggy, feel used, and I'm like, man, I just slept 8 hours. Why don't I feel refreshed? This is another website. Let me see. This is another website. Like I said, I just started choosing NPR News, NPR.org. This says nearly half of American adults say they rarely or never get a good night's sleep, according to a poll by the National Sleep Foundation. Sleep researchers Charles Kessler and Scott Hutel discuss how sleep deprivation affects the brain and why bedtime technology use may be partly to blame. Hold on. Did you know that 250,000 people fall asleep at the wheel every day? 250,000 people. Why can't we get enough sleep to stay awake during a life and death activity? Well, a new poll by the National Sleep Foundation suggests one of the things keeping us up at night may be our smartphones, our laptops, our TVs, all that technology in the bedroom, keeping us mentally engaged until later in the evening. I gotta finish that episode, right? And those devices may be impacting the chemistry of our brains by exposing to the bright lights of those screens at nighttime, sort of pressing the reset switch on our sleep cycle. Then it goes on. And this is the Huffington Post. I'm just reading just to show you how many are dealing with this issue. How many researchers, institutes like Ohio State University, Pennsylvania University are actually researching this? But is it on the news? Why? Why isn't this on the news? Why are all these medical institutions and these MDs and all these medical websites saying, hey, do not sleep near all this technology? It's causing mental disorders and depression. Just Google so many different websites dealing with depression and these things all over these instruments. Okay, right now I'm on the HuffingtonPost.com. It says, most people who own iPhones use them as their alarm clock, making it all too easy to check email one last time before falling asleep, and hard to ever feel unplugged from work or social networks. Several years ago, my boss, Ariana Huffington, passed out from exhaustion after staying up late to catch up on work. She banged her head on the way down and ended up with 5 stitches, blah, blah, blah. Look, now she leaves her phone charging in another room when she goes to bed and encourages friends to do the same. I sent all my friends the same Christmas gift, a Pottery Barn alarm clock, so they could stop using the excuse that they need the very tempted iPhone by their bed to wake them up in the morning. If your phone wakes you up in the morning, it may also be keeping you up at night. A 2008 study funded by major mobile phone makers themselves showed that people exposed to mobile radiation took longer to fall asleep and spent less time in deep sleep. The study indicates that during laboratory exposure to 884 MHz wireless signals, components of sleep believed to be important for recovery from daily wear and tear are adversely affected. Okay, that paragraph kind of confused me. All the time. Skip to that. And that's just a physical symptom of sleeping near the phone. Sham exposure to a phone without radiation failed to produce the same effect. Meaning the phones that isn't a smartphone, the old school phones that don't emit radiation did not have this effect at all on our brains. It's basically, and the radiation is slowly deteriorating your brain, and the waves, it's like talking to your brain while you sleep, keeping it up at a high pitch. Basically, it's wearing you out, is making you grow older quick. Think about if you run your car and never cut it off, it's gonna wear it out. Our brains need rest too, probably more than any other thing, because it's the computer that runs it all. Our brains definitely need rest, because this be why most people are more edgy, cranky, losing their mind, fighting over every little thing, all these things, confusion, people acting like they don't have the nerves to just sit and read a book, can't be calm anymore, these things. Why? What is really sparking our minds while we're sleeping? What is this radiation in these brain and these electronical airwaves that these things emit while they're cut off? As long, like my friend in the military told, as long as they're plugged into the wall, these things emit radiation. These things emit radio frequency waves. As long as they're plugged into the wall. Me and my wife now, we unplug everything. I kid you not. If we're not using, even my microwave gets unplugged. If we want to use it, then we plug it back in. This is from Business Insider. If you're buying a new iPhone, don't use it in bed, and not just because nighttime smartphone use messes up your sleep cycle. The blue light from personal electronic devices has also been linked to serious physical and mental health problems. Blue light is part of the full light spectrum, which means we're exposed to it by the sun every day. However, nighttime exposure to that light, which is emitted at high levels by smartphones, tablets, laptops, and other LED screens, may be damaging your vision. It also suppresses production of the hormone melatonin, which throws off your body's natural sleep cues. When your melatonin levels and sleep cycles go haywire, your risk goes up for a wide range of ailments, from depression to cancer. Things that we see just booming nowadays. Look, that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was six websites that I just randomly chose and picked right there. I'm telling y'all, because I want you to see how big this problem is. I thought, and this all came from just me comparing it myself, from falling asleep and waking up heading straight, almost like uncontrollable. One night I woke up, it was almost like uncontrollable going to the refrigerator, and I'm like, what's wrong with, I don't even, I don't eat like that, but it was like my mind was already wired, like gone straight to the refrigerator. Or I'm waking up, these things, what if these radio frequency waves are emitting, because it's keeping our brains wired, it's making it even more apt to give in to physical urges, certain physical urges, from appetite to sex, to these certain urges that once that we're wondering why. It's like, wow, I used to have a lock on this. Why does it feel so uncontrollable now? Why does it feel so uncontrollable now? Why do I wake up feeling used, like I'm a wet wash rag just wrung out? Beloved, our enemies aren't playing at all, and there is no love in their eyes. And one thing they want to do is dumb you down. They want to dumb down all of us for the effect of that. When we're dumbed down, when we're a nation that's dumbed down, we're more easily to be led astray. We're more easily to be confused, more easily to be blinded, more easily not to see the hook coming from the right side that they're swinging at us. Beloved, it's time to unlearn what we've been learning, and it's time to really put a check on what's really going on. I have a video in my videos called Take Your Power Back. It's about these smart meters that they're forcing upon Americans. I commend you to watch it. I advise you to watch it. This is not a game, beloved. This is not a game at all. Do your homework. The truth loves investigation. The truth loves investigation. Y'all have a good one.